Okay,
Okay, I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. Janelle, can you please take roll call?
Bertle,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Hartwig,
Here.
Shumway.
She's rejoining. She got disconnected. She's just
Okay.
in.
Okay, I see her. Gretzmacher
Here.
and Nate Bell is gonna be a little bit late.
Okay, is there anybody on the meeting or on the phone that would like to comment on a non-agenda issue? No. Janelle or Bo, do you have anything?
No, there's one piece of correspondence, but that's for the public hearing.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Motion by Gretzmacher,
Second.
I'll second it. Oh,
second by Hartwig.
Yep.
All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as published?
well, they're rather long and lengthy, but I will make a motion, fully expecting a correction.
Motion by Baker,
I'll second.
second by Gretzmacher. I have no corrections.
I read them.
Okay, all those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Item number 1, public hearing on a request from Deborah Homan to authorize creation of a certified survey map that splits the property located at 10315 Orchard Drive with an assigned parcel number of 1810008312834C2 in such a fashion that it will contain 5.006 acre parcel and a 6.501 acre parcel. And if the recommendation is made that the village board approve the CSM, the Plan Commission will also hold a public hearing on Ms. Homan's request to rezone the newly created lots that are delineated on the CSM from countryside to R3. Bo?
Yeah, so this is coming from the last meeting. This is following up a previous CSM to make a lot. So there was 2 lots for the Sweetbriar property, and now she is looking to do a 3rd lot directly in the middle there. There was a concern from a neighbor who wrote into the meeting about putting that lot line so close to a septic mound. And Deb Homan is jumping in right now. And I addressed that with engineers, and the DNR setback requirements are only 2 feet. So there's no issue there as far as the septic mound goes.
Okay, then at 5:33, we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody online that would like to speak for or against the CSMs?
I'm just unmuting some of these people so that if they want to speak.
Did the person who sent the email, did they want to speak? You said they were online.
I do not believe that person is online. I'm just giving people the opportunity to unmute themselves to speak.
Deb Homan, the property owner, is online.
Okay. If nobody wants to speak for or
I lost
against,
the entire feed. If there was anything said while everything rebooted, please advise.
no, we were just waiting, Mary Kay. Nobody said anything, but thank you. I will close the public hearing at 5:34. Is there any Plan Commission discussion? Or a motion would be in order. Go ahead, Mary Kay.
No, actually, I'm a little bit confused because this is countryside. It's been divided once. It was stated that this was for profit. another division on Countryside, it's very clear via statute that we cannot do that. So I'm wondering what direction this is going in. The zoning is established, complete. Please advise.
Okay, what says that it's illegal to do that? What are you referencing?
Not illegal, Denise, against statute with the attempt to bring it up to the state. It is Countryside to go ahead and divide it again afterwards for profit. I'm just asking.
I don't know what statute that is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar off the top of my head what you're referring to on that.
The admin code for basically changing things. I apologize. I should bring it up right now, and excuse me, I have another computer here, but I'm not going to waste your time. Again, you are not to make judgments based on mercenary issues with the zoning. So this is Countryside. You're asking to split it again. We've already split it once. I think Bo might be more, versed in.
So I'm just trying to pull
What
this
would
like, backwards here. Yeah, it's showing up backwards here. This is the fastest I can pull it up.
No,
So,
I can see. I
so
can see.
two lots adjacent are R3.
Right.
This is the newly proposed lot that would turn these two into R3 as well.
Right, it's not spot zoning. Again, I'm just asking, again, this has already been rezoned once. Is this going to be a trend now in Countryside that we can anticipate?
It's a good question. I don't see that becoming an issue in the future. Based on this is just owned by one person being used to R3. I don't see the trend. Just but it doesn't mean that other people who own CS1 would be.
Well, we did have the trend. We had it on 57. Now it's trickling back into this section. So I'm,
Why is the highway closed today?
I'm just concerned. There's so much land in the village that is Countryside.
Sorry, there were some speed issues there. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Well, they fall under the correct sign. They fall under the correct sign.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
Oh, should you just mute everyone?
We had a substantial land division along the highway land. Their children.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to. Okay, I think it went away now. Okay, I think that. Right. Apologize for that. I think it was Deb Homan's computer that was causing the feedback issue there.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, I think you have
Okay,
devices on. That's why.
okay, all right, sorry.
No worries.
I'm not very good at this, I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So Bo, did you hear everything that Mary Kay said, and do you want to finish responding?
Sorry. No, Mary Kay, I didn't hear your last statement there.
Nothing. I mean, simply go on and explain more explanation, please.
No, this is one property owner who was subdividing their lots and made two parcels previously, turning one into R3 and then leaving the other property at CS1. And now that individual is looking to do an additional parcel, and because of the size requirements, it would then turn those two parcels into R3 as well. To my knowledge, I haven't seen any other CS1 lots go to R3. This would be the only property owner that's done that in the last year.
In the past year, yes.
And Mary Kay, you mentioned the other properties on 57, I believe. What reference are you talking about those? I'm just curious. I don't have any back history on that.
We'd have to go back and have Bo pull
I think her connection cut out again. She's still in the
Is-
meeting. It says.
in this specific corridor splitting up. So, I'm curious as to why. This is apparently for profit. We've talked about that. And if Sister Bay wants to change the zoning everywhere and abolish countryside, well, then by all means, that is something that we should bring up on the table, Denise. But right now, we do have large lots in certain areas, which is to the benefit of the village, in areas without sewer and water, where there are not small lots. So, that is just my comment right now. I would like to hear a little bit more as to, this is the second land division on a specific lot that was countryside. So.
Are you guys talking about my land? I came in a little bit late. This is
Yeah.
Deborah Homan. Okay. Did you ask me a question that you wanted me to respond to? I apologize for interrupting.
No, I apologize. I'm addressing the
Okay,
Planning
all right.
Commission.
I'll be quiet, sorry.
I mean, there hasn't been any conversation about abolishing countryside. I guess as one of the things that I do think will happen, I don't think this year, next year, maybe not even 5 years from now, but I do think that as sewer and water is extended down 57 and, over the next 20 or 20 years, that we will see parts of countryside probably be split off more, would be my assumption over the next 20 years, just because it would make sense if they had the ability to hook up to sewer and water, that some people may want to sell off part of their lots. I mean, that's what I can see happening over the next 20 years. Chris, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, if I could interject just real quick. Historically, Denise, I sat on the Plan Commission when that was established and Bob was here. And if I remember correctly, when we established Countryside, the Plan Commission at that side, the countryside was set aside to then at some point in time, depending on pressure, either develop commercial or develop residential. It was set up to be a holding area for eventual development in smaller lots, either residential or commercial. I could be wrong. But I thought that's what Bob, when he set that all up, that was the background behind that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because I think
Did
you
we
were
get
on.
meeting minutes or anything in regards to that?
That would go back to Bob's early.
1990, well, maybe around 2000,
Yeah.
99.
That was,
Plan for them to go to smaller lots. Is that in your, master plan or, I'm just.
I have also a question, there's been reference at village board meetings and previous plan commission, just conversation about, even connecting that road that would lead to Scand from Woodcrest down. I mean, is that also part of that potential thought process?
That's been in our thought process, Jordan, for probably 20 years, how to achieve that. We just haven't been able to cross that hurdle yet for a variety of different reasons, mostly with the Department of Transportation. mean, I would imagine if Chris and Marge are thinking that this was about 20 years ago, I mean, we just have to go back and look in those minutes for any kind of conversation that was had. I think I was on the Plan Commission for a while with Chris, but not the whole time that he was on. And so his memory is far better than mine on it being a holding area.
I don't know that that was, put down as something definite. It was sort of part of a general discussion is how I recollect it. As Chris started talking, it slowly was coming back to me too. But it was just a discussion. What would eventually happen to this property? How long would it be, these large spaces? But I don't know that we ever did anything definitive.
So just so you know, it looks like Mary Kay and Jordan's connection cut them out of the meeting. I believe they're probably trying to get back in.
Okay. Then we will wait for them to come back in. And while we're waiting, I'm just going to see if there's anything in the current code.
Okay, there's Jordan. Jordan, just so you know.
Yeah, I just lost internet connection. Sorry about that.
Hi, sorry, I was going to call in. Again, I'm just not sure about what's in your smart growth plan, with all respect to Chris, about like carving up countryside into smaller pieces. And it may say that, I only pulled the book, not the greater books tonight for the hearing.
But this does meet R3 sizes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it states in the zoning code, that the countryside district provides for the continuation of low-density residential housing and general non-intensive agricultural and related use in those areas suited for farming. The intent is to conserve areas with adequate soil types, drainage, and topography for low-density residential use and to preserve the rural landscape from an uneconomical scattering of residential development in such areas. So I don't, from the way that
So what does the smart growth plan say? Because that was quoted several times at a recent hearing. So tell me what that says about countryside.
Okay.
You stay. Stay. Stop it. No, stay.
in my packet too. Because I had it up the other day.
It does say,
The 20-year comprehensive plan?
yes, the residential development section of the comprehensive plan recommended that the village initiate housing development in new areas of the village while establishing standards for the type and density of the developments. New residential
What page,
development,
Judy?
it's 8-4. New residential development areas were identified in the Sister Bluff area, the Southwest Quad area, the Kessel Lane area, and the Woodcrest Road area.
I'm asking for it to go specifically to countryside. I realize that this has been picked fast and loose lately, but I'd like to see what it says about country.
I don't know that it says anything about countryside specifically.
I don't think that that's specifically pointed out in the 20-year comprehensive plan. I'm looking through it right now.
I sure can't find anything that refers to countryside.
It does on 8-9, it does talk about large lot residents. The district is intended for residential uses that protect the natural environment and reflect open country character of the fringe areas of the community.
Thank you. I don't think this is a fringe area of the community. I think this is toward the border of the end of Sister Bay. So I'm not sure if changing this applies according to the comprehensive plan.
Okay, on 8-12, it states countryside. This district is intended for mostly rural areas of the interior of the county where a mixture of low-density residential, agriculture, rural commercial activities exists or is desirable. The district provides for residential development at modest densities consistent with a generally rural environment and allows for non-residential uses which require relatively large land areas and or which are compatible with surrounding rural land. Oh no, that's county zoning.
That's county
Yep,
zoning, Denise.
then it went into heartland. Yep, that's county zoning. That does not apply. Other than that one statement, I am not seeing anything specific to countryside.
That's what I pulled earlier today. Again, that, to me, that kind of says it all. That area is large lots. It's, wide open spaces. There is no sewer and water. I'm not sure why this is being entertained when it's already been subdivided once. So that is my only comment. I went into the book today. I understand now, per the previous hearing, that we have to use the 20-year comprehensive plan. So I am doing so. As such, I do not feel that this meets the need for another subdivision of the parcel number at hand.
Just so everyone knows, Nate Bell just joined in. Nate, just so you know, we're on agenda item number 1, public hearing for the CSM.
Okay, thank you.
I'm almost through the chapter. Just bear with me, please.
I went through the entire chapter this morning. There's almost nothing.
Yep, so there's nothing specific in there. Anyone else?
I'm of the opinion, if we're going to start using the 20-year comprehensive plan for each hearing, that it needs to be used readily and in a uniform fashion so the village does not get into litigation. So that is why I am quoting from it tonight and making sure that we take a good close look at this, because no part of this says it should be subdivided again, you know, basically, and that's all.
Okay, point taken. The first lot that the Plan Commission allowed to be broken off was because there was already R3 next door. I don't know how, it's not like the request is coming in for, you know, single family, a 20,000 square foot lot, which certainly I believe that the Plan Commission would deny because it's not appropriate, and it goes from, you know, 10 acres to 20,000 square feet, which is a minimum lot size in the village. It is asking for a 50% reduction, and I understand Mary Kay's point, but with R3 already being around it, I don't know how we would not allow the rezoning. That's how I look at it.
If I could just make a quick point, Countryside 1 and R3 share very similar features, and I just want to refer to the description under R3 large lot residence and just take a quote. It's residential use and manner which protects the natural environment and reflects the open country character of development found in the fringe of the community, and that was brought up before, and it shares the similar features in which CS1 was created for, to preserve that natural beauty on larger lots.
I mean, I guess I view, you know, if you need to hang your hat on anything, when I read that also about the fringe of the community, I mean, this is on the outskirts of, this is on the border of Sister Bay and Liberty Grove. I would consider that the fringe. I mean, I think, let me look at a map, that all the parcels that are on Woodcrest, bordering Woodcrest, are also countryside. And there has, that very specifically was talked about changing from countryside for other development. So in a sense, even though it may not have been specified, if you look at the map of all the countryside on Woodcrest and then down Flint Ridge, one could infer, or not, depending upon where you stand, that at some point in time, all of that will become something else, that it will not stay countryside, over the next 100 years per se. And especially because Woodcrest and the Southwest Quad and other places were specified in there. This parcel is not that far away from all the property that butts up against Woodcrest.
I just put this on the screen to help give a visual for this one.
Oh, I lost the whole screen. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Comments?
No.
Okay. Somebody want to entertain a motion to recommend to the village board the CSM as proposed?
I'll make,
Was that you, Mary Kay?
It was.
Okay.
Your argument was excellent, Denise.
A motion by Shumway,
Second.
second by Bell. All those in favor respond with an aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
Carried. Did we have another motion that we had to deal with, Bo?
No, that's it.
That's
But
it.
also got the rezoning. You've got an ordinance for rezoning.
Is that for this? Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
Because if you did the CSM, now you have to do the ordinance recommended.
Oh, yeah.
The resolution, you mean?
No, resolution is for the CSM.
Okay,
The ordinance is for the zoning.
got it. On page 19 of the packet.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Baker. Is there, who was that?
Okay.
Oh, Shumway. Okay. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Hartwig.
Was Hartwig opposed to the rezoning?
Yes.
I did, yes.
To the CSM as well, or just the rezoning?
For both, I did.
Okay.
Nobody was opposed?
What, Janelle?
No one else was opposed, just Hartwig?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item number 2, discussion regarding an attempt to change the use of the upper level of the building located at 10668 North Bay Shore Drive from an office to a vacation rental unit. Bo?
Yes, so this was brought up at the last Plan Commission meeting and tabled because there were some questions that the Plan Commission members had for the owners of the property. Todd Cox, a representative of the property, is on the meeting today to answer any questions. Just to go ahead and give a quick background on this. There was a sign that was posted for a rental property on site that was not approved. And upon further research, it was found that they are using the upstairs unit as a transient lodging, which has not been an approved use for that site in the B3 downtown district. The reason that we bring it up and discuss that change of use is because it impacts parking on the property, and obviously parking in the B3 district is tight as it is. And so this has to be brought up to Plan Commission to address parking.
So the change of use is okay?
Well, it's an applicable change of use. However, it does impact the parking of the property.
Oh, okay.
So what I wanted to know is the exact square footage of each of the offices downstairs and the square footage of the transient rental upstairs. That was not included in our packets. Bo did contact Todd, who said that each of the downstairs units were about 400 square feet. And therefore the upstairs was about 800. I did find when it was listed for sale, and it said that the building was 40 by 20, because that seemed small to me.
It is.
That the building was 40 by 27, which is 1,080 square feet, its footprint, and that the total square footage of both floors was 831. So that is bigger than what Todd shared with Bo.
Before we go any further, can I just ask, I was told that this was a restrictive covenant on the property. So I'm confused as to why we're not dealing with that as opposed to the conversation at hand. Am I incorrect? That was stated at the last meeting.
I don't know.
That there's restrictive covenant, that this not be lodging.
I'm not familiar with any covenants on that property.
Well, when we rented our portion of that building, the upstairs was rented by the land trust. So it was another business upstairs.
I think it was stated as transient rental, Marge, like rent, like obviously all portions of that building have been rented. I'm just confused because I believe that was stated at the last meeting. So now I'm super confused.
I don't remember that.
I do not recollect that from last month's meeting.
That phrase.
Okay.
And does a covenant have to be with the register, filed with the Register of Deeds for the village to even find out about it, or filed with the village? I mean, I think this did come up one other time many years ago, and that if there were covenants, that was between the individual parties and not the village, because most of the time we are unaware of any covenants on anything. Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, Bo is the admin, but restrictive covenants would run with the land and the property. So, I would just have to go back to my whatever video exists of the last meeting.
That phrase coming up, Mary Kay.
I'm sorry, Marge.
I don't remember that phrase coming up last time, Mary Kay. I'm looking
restrictive covenants.
I'm looking through my notes.
Does anyone else that was at last month's meeting recollect that coming up?
I do not. Denise, I do not remember that.
I don't either.
I'll go back through the video. Disregard what I said. I'll ask for the video.
Okay. Okay.
I do know that upper space has been used for rental for a number of years.
Oh, absolutely, it has.
Well,
yeah.
before
Yes.
Dave and Todd got the property.
Right. But they just needed to ask permission for a change of use instead of just doing it. So if Todd is on the line, what is, so if there's 1,080 square feet footprint, and parking is based on gross.
Sorry, folks.
Gross area. So the bathroom would be, I know in the old SBAA office, there's a bathroom and there was a furnace room with storage. So that would not be included. I do not know where Dave has his office, if there's also, a furnace room or storage that's not actually part of like the.
There's no furnace room. There's no furnace room. There is a very, very tiny bathroom. The one that is that was in the old SBAA one was a huge bathroom kind of thing. But the one in the where Dave has his office, that's just a tiny little space.
Okay,
And no furnace room and no storage.
okay, okay. All right.
Hey, folks, this is Todd Cox. I am on the line. I do very much appreciate your time tonight and the consideration you guys are giving. I certainly apologize that we didn't take the proper steps initially to get this approved. I kind of came into this blind and I guess just relied on my real estate partner, assuming that he kind of knew how to run the traps. We're not. I've been coming up here 40 years with my family. Now I've got a property, on Hillcrest and also this. So I love Sister Bay. I'm not coming up here to cause problems. I want to try to be, increase the tax base and continue to do things up here. But I am sorry that, we're not trying to mislead or anything along those lines. We just didn't go about it right. So I'm happy to answer any questions, of course.
Well, I'm trying to come up with a parking calculation. So, and I'm a little bit guessing here. So if we take the square footage of the old SBAA office and minus the bathroom and the storeroom, there's one parking space required for 200 square feet of office space. So let's just say that 2 are required from there. The real estate office, because they have nothing really to be taken off except a tiny, tiny bathroom. Let's say that there's 3 required there. There would be 1 space for the transient rental upstairs because it's a 1-bedroom. And then let's say 1 employee for each of the offices. So that's 2 more. And I don't know how to square this. That's a total of 8 parking spaces. There is no property here. It has operated like this for quite some time. In the B3, you are allowed a credit of 3 spaces, and that brings it down to 5. And I don't believe that there's any way in the world that can be 5 spaces put on that parking lot. So
that parking lot is 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little confused after my discussion with Bo yesterday. I thought we would be looking at 3 spots that we need to possibly 4 at the most. But regardless, and Bo was over there with me yesterday, we can fit in there too, no problem now. And there is space when you pull into the driveway. If you clear out a little bit, you clear out some brush and kind of grade it a little bit, which wouldn't, be a big undertaking. We could easily fit in 3 more parking spaces at a diagonal. No. I'm sorry.
So
Louise, you're shaking your head. You worked in the building?
I'm shaking my head too. Okay.
Martin?
I'm shaking my head too. I don't know where you'd put 3 more. That's right on the property line with Pipka's space. You can't clean that out. That's Pipka's that's our property line between that and Pipka.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I am. Looking at it yesterday, it certainly looked extremely doable.
So
I guess.
Sorry, Todd, to cut you off there. So Todd and I had gone out to that lot and taken a look, and yes, it's tight. But what he's trying to explain is if you look on in your packets on, hold on, I'm trying to pull, it's on page 25 there, which is kind of a rough sketch of what that property looks like. There's a current portion that's blacktopped there that can fit 2 vehicles. And what Todd's trying to say is if he can clean up that space up to the property line there and grade it out, as well as that additional space back towards the wooden deck, that frees up enough space to put in 3 angled parking spots, plus an additional spot towards the back there.
And when you park them all in there, how are they going to get out? Because they'd be parking each other in.
That's a very busy intersection as well.
Has
Especially
there
in
been a recent survey? It sounds as though PIPCO's may be under contract. Is there a survey that actually shows the lot line right now? Considering that these Mr. Todd C. and Mr. Castor just purchased the building last year, I would expect to have survey stakes. Or 2 years ago, whenever they did.
Yeah, we purchased it last August, year ago.
Did you have a survey?
Not that I don't have it. Not that I'm aware of.
Well, what is it that we have that's on page 25, signed by Brian Frisk? Is that not a survey?
That would be the survey. That
25.
would check parking spaces.
Yeah, that was the plat that was provided by Mr. Castor at the last meeting.
And Bo, is that how you calculated the parking that you're talking about?
Well, the calculations that I proposed at the last meeting, and hold on, I'm going to pull that up right now. So I have on here, and this is from what I viewed on in the zoning code, was 1 space per bedroom of transient lodging, 1 space per employee at their peak shift, and 1 space per meeting room, which was a total of 5 spaces. And Denise is using the 200 square.
Yeah, these are offices. These are not meeting rooms.
Yep.
Well, and nobody's in the one, and we have no idea. I thought I had heard that Todd Frazoni was renting that out. Is it just not being rented to anyone at all?
I can speak to that. Todd Frazoni has he paid a year's rent up front with the intention of opening up kind of a walkthrough, kind of like he had up by Husby's ice cream shop. He was still going to keep the other one down the road. So, I mean, as far as having meeting rooms, it'd be limited employee space there. But his wife had some health issues, and they were just concerned about having a business downtown. So they just decided to not operate out of there this summer. They're in a 2-year lease, so they'll be operating out of there next year. And Dave is the only employee, on that side.
See, because when Dave first came to us and told us that I think when he first came and talked to us, I don't know that he mentioned a partner. He talked about himself purchasing the building, and he said that he was going to live upstairs. So I think at that point in time.
So not to cut you off, but let me just elaborate a little bit further on that. The rental period that we're using for this transient is May 15th to October 31st. Castor's going to live up there from November 1st to May 15th. So it's I guess a dual use upstairs. He's going to use it for 7 months of the year, and then it'll be vacation rentals for the other 5 months. I am the primary owner, so I can't speak to what Dave was saying, but Dave is a minority holder in this.
Even though this use has not been approved, have you rented out this space in the month of August?
Pretty much every day. Yeah. Pretty much every day from the end of June on.
What's
through August, and then September, October weekends, a few weekdays here and there.
what's the maximum occupancy?
4.
And so are those probably 2 couples with 2 cars?
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's a family of 2 kids, or it's typically just one couple. In fact, it's been almost exclusively one couple.
Okay.
Because it's only 1 bedroom, and it is, pull-out couch in the main room, and 2 couples, unless it's younger, may do that, but it's been exclusively one couple or one couple of kids.
Well, I don't know how I feel about a business operating that hasn't been approved.
Great.
You said you agreed, Scott?
I do.
I do too. We've had enough of that in this village.
And I think that we need to have a specific plan for the parking, not just, well, we think we can fit this in. We need to approve that parking plan. And make sure that it works correctly, and not just allowing a change of use that continues to operate without the blessing of the Plan Commission or the village. And so I want a parking plan. How many cars can fit in there? How will they turn around and function? If the Plan Commission does have the authority to, I don't want you to try to cram 5 in there if it's not functional. But if you can get 4 that are in there that are functional, okay. And then you need to make that case to the Plan Commission. But I need to see a parking plan, not just say, okay, we're going to try to, put in X amount of parking spaces and not know how it's utilized.
Nope, that's completely fair. My question is considering, as her name Lucille or whomever who was in the SVA, she was in there for many years with Dave Castor. Why was this never a problem back then, right? So she had an office space with 3 people in there, and Dave had a space, and so she's part of the SVAA. Why was this not a problem back then, when there's 2 office spaces with a number of employees?
Because transient lodging is considered quite different than 2 office spaces, which is an allowed use in that district with the parking allotted.
But it's not. I mean, what you guys just went through as far as needing two parking spaces per employee based off the square footage, that was never under code.
Yes,
the way I understand.
There was not a request for a change of use. You are now requesting a change of use.
So all we're doing is requesting a change of use really for 5 months of the year up top. We're not requesting a change of use down below.
Well, you will be if Todd Frazzoni is going to be putting in some kind of food and beverage
business in there.
Yeah, but there was so you don't consider SVA, and I'm just asking, you don't consider SVA a business?
Louise has her hand up, Bo, if you want to mute her.
Let me answer Todd's question first. There is different criteria for what type of business is in any structure. So a restaurant has different criteria for parking than an office. I would imagine a restaurant is going to have more employees than an office. Dave is the only one that you said that works out of his office. I counted 1 person for him. So if Todd is going to be going in there next year, I think we kind of need to know what that's going to look like also, and let's just get this done in one fell swoop.
That's fair. Yeah, no, okay. So Castor, obviously, his side of the business would count as one.
Yes.
The Door County Ice Cream would count as two, and then you'd be counting the upstairs as two as well.
No, I don't know what Todd's situation is going to be. I don't know how many employees he is going to employ there, what type of business he is going to operate. Is it a 2-person show? Is it a 4-person show? Have no idea. That is a change of use from an office going to some kind of restaurant or food service. And so
okay.
the key component is how many square feet of the building is the gross square footage of space for sales and service, and then how many employees are there, and there is one parking place that's required for the upstairs. And so we need to know all of this information moving forward along with the parking plan to figure out what's going to happen here.
Okay. So we should follow up with Todd to get an idea of how many. So are you basing it off full-time employees, or, I mean, if he's got 5 or 6 part-time employees, that, you know, how does that work?
It's how many are there at the shift that has the most employees. Doesn't matter if they're full-time or part-time. There are no equivalent. Okay. How many on the busiest shift will there be to operate that business?
Okay. Okay. All righty.
And I don't know what the Plan Commission does about the operation of the transient rental. Bo?
Well, I keep looking back at this, and from my point of view, this is the obvious issue: is this building was designed and created for someone to own the office space downstairs and to live upstairs, and that's why it got approved with the parking plan that is today. And now we have a new owner and an issue where we're going to have potentially 3 separate uses in that building with no additional parking, and that's where we have to, as a village, understand that we're creating more parking issues by allowing this to occur. So this is why it's up to Plan Commission now, is we have to address the parking while we are dealing with the change of uses. That's why they're being brought up. Otherwise, we're going to be severely stressed from a parking perspective if we keep getting change of uses with no additional parking.
Yeah, that's not the opinion I was looking for. I was looking for an opinion on a business that has been renting out since we had questions, and they are not a permitted business. And they continue to rent out for the month of August. They will most likely continue to rent out until the next Plan Commission meeting.
And that will need to stop, as it is not an approved change of use.
If they don't, what happens?
Yeah.
Then our attorney gets involved. We will have to write fines for that if it continues.
Folks, come on, there's got to be a way around this for 2 more months.
I think we have precedence on Smith Drive with the domicile building.
With the what building, Mary Kay?
The
We're going to be
domicile.
ruining a lot of
Next to
patients.
the old schoolhouse.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I mean, there's, you know, I got to think there's a solution that can be, you know, accommodated for the next 2 months. We're not rooting a bunch of vacations. I mean, we're not trying to do anything to hurt the community here. We're adding to the tax base. We've been coming up here for 4 decades. You know, we're very well ensconced in this area. And yeah, we
Excuse me for interrupting. I agree with all the things you're saying. However, we have rules, and the rules were not followed, and we are bound by the rules.
Okay.
Has there been room tax collected?
Lots of it.
Okay, just a question.
Oh, to make sure that they were licensed?
Yes, they are.
So at that point, why was something brought up at that point if they've been licensed to do the room tax?
That goes through the Door County Visitors Bureau, or the Tourism Zone Commission, I apologize.
Jordan, I was the one who noticed the sign, the beachside bungalow or Sister Bay bungalow or whatever, the sign was up. And when I saw the sign, I contacted Bo and said, what is this? Plan Commission did not have a change of use. So then he made the phone calls to Dave and Todd, and we're working through it. It's all because of the sign that we're even aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Go
clearly
ahead.
we weren't trying to hide anything. We just made a misstep, and we weren't hiding anything.
Does the village currently have any record of all the rentals within village limits for, say, the room tax that we get, or is that done differently in communication with the tourism?
We have that, our village clerk has that, Heidi.
You have to. You'd be foolhardy to try to do it without proper permits, room tax, et cetera, et cetera. They police that rather well. Again, I'm going to ask for the tapes or video for the other meeting. I'm disheartened by this, I guess.
I think it's that disheartening, Mary Kay.
In which way, Mary Kay? Of the owners of the property or the direction of the Plan Commission?
The owners.
I think the Planning Commission is trying to keep up as best as they can. The change of use has steadily, jumped. We've known that Todd has had an interest in that building and a vested interest in that building for quite a while, and again, as you say, I drove past on Saturday morning 1 week ago, not this weekend because I was not in town, but a week ago, there was a woman dressing in the window seat of the upstairs window. Despite the fact that there aren't any signs, you can definitely tell it's transient lodging. No different than what we dealt with at Domicile up on the top of the hill. So, this isn't new, this isn't novel. It's just something that needs to be dealt with.
The thing that I think bothers me, though, is that Kastner is a real estate person. He should have known what the rules were.
Yep.
Well, and I will take responsibility for putting blind faith into Dave, knowing being in that community and being a real estate person for how many years to dot the I's and cross the T's. Clearly I found out a lot along the way. But that's just something I got to deal with at this point. And this is another thing. So I'm kind of blindsided by this. I completely understand now that understand the process now that you guys are going through it. I get it. I totally understand it. And I'll do what I need to do to fix it and so we can move forward. Hopefully. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask a question to our Plan Commission Chair? I'm going through the zoning code here and just asking from your perspective for this year or while we try to move forward on this. I'm reading through the fee in lieu of parking here, and there's a section about changes in occupancy or use. And I just wanted to see where your thoughts were at. It says when the use of a building, structure, land is changed to another use or an occupancy that requires more parking spaces than required for the existing use or for the change, the additional parking spaces no, that won't work actually because there's a section in here about residential not qualifying for fee in lieu of parking.
Correct.
So never
Yep.
mind.
That's the whole issue. Yep. Yep. That impacts everything. And Todd Frisoni moving in next year.
Sorry about that.
All right. So we will let Todd and you, Bo, work this out, come up with a parking plan. Todd needs to talk to Todd Frisoni and find out what his plans are for there. And we will put this on the agenda for next month and hopefully be able to wrap it up.
Yep, we'll work on a parking plan.
Thank you all for your time.
I'm confused because I don't think Todd enters the picture right now. He's not doing anything there right now. I think we're dealing with the issue at hand. How does Todd get into that right this second? I don't think he does.
Well, if they're going to make some parking changes, and instead of coming in,
Todd should be involved. I get it.
Todd should be involved. You don't want to go through possibly some landscaping, cutting of trees, asphalt, whatever. You only want to do that once, and that's why I'm suggesting that Todd Frisoni be brought in on what his needs are. So it's all done and taken care of, and you don't have to mobilize and do something different than, again, come spring when Todd moves in if he's got a 2-year lease. That's why I brought that up.
Makes sense. Next question, what in the interim do we do about the lodging?
You know, do I think that we will find a solution to this? Most likely. Do I think that we can totally allow a non-permitted business to continue to operate? No.
Oh. There's
Okay, I'll just ask that you consider that Door County Ice Cream isn't in there, and Dave Castor has another building in Egg Harbor that he can operate out of for the next 2 months. So there is no parking concern with that in mind. When we're talking about, you know, putting on, I get that you guys are put off, and I can appreciate that given what I've learned. But we are talking about a number of families who have plans to come up to Sister Bay that don't really need to be disrupted because there isn't a parking problem as it stands these next 2 months.
Okay, well, that's a fair enough point, that if the units downstairs are not utilized, that there is parking for upstairs, but we still haven't permitted it. So would the Plan Commission be willing to go out on a limb and say, okay, as long as that no one is utilizing the ground floor units, that that they would allow to continue to operate until this is figured out? I'm asking the question how anybody feels about that.
So where's the parking spots they're using currently that these transients are using?
It's behind the building.
Yeah, there's 2 spots behind the building.
And so you're parking each other in, is that correct?
Exactly.
No, you are not. There's enough room for 2 cars side by side. And Bo would say that based off of being over there yesterday.
When we were down there yesterday, he had 2 cars parked side by side.
Okay.
Can I ask Louise, when she was working with the SBA, what their parking situation was for them? Can you unmute her?
Sure. I'm unmuted. Yeah. There's 2 parking spaces. We never parked side by side because we thought it was too dangerous. We had 2 bad accidents there from people backing up from the driveway onto Mill. One of them actually was Drew, the gentleman I work with. And just to clarify things, we never had 3 people working there. I aspire to have 3 people. That would be delightful. At one point, we just had 1, and we finally got 2. And during the winter, there was 1. That was me. When David bought the building, he asked us not to park in the parking lot any longer. So we no longer park there, and we parked on the street, or we parked all the way up Mill, so we wouldn't take any parking from visitors. But we felt strongly that we didn't want to park side by side because we thought it was dangerous in backing up, because that's a sidewalk. And when you back up in that driveway, you can't see people walking down the street. You have to inch out very slowly. So that's why we decided to do that, our choice. So we parked behind each other when we were parking there. And we did have 2 cars when Maluska came on board. That's correct.
My only concern too is that emergency vehicles are going down that road quite frequently with ambulances and then the fire departments and people backing up, and they have enough difficulty with that currently existing. So that'd be my biggest concern right now with that.
I just know from experience, it's a dangerous place to back into.
And having worked and had a business there in the next door to where SVAA is, I can attest to that. We never backed out without having somebody standing out there on the road guiding us so we didn't kill someone.
Was Sister Bay this busy back then, Marge, or is it busier than you've ever seen right
No,
now?
it was always like that, backing out on that road. Mill Road is a busy road. Mhm.
Well, this group needs to make a determination. It's kind of a cease and desist, or you make the case that the bottom 2 units are not utilized at all until this is resolved, and they can continue their rentals, even though it's not permitted.
I thought they were already issued a cease and desist, am I correct, after the first meeting? Or no?
No, they have not been.
Why not?
So what communication has been brought forth to them since any of this has been brought up? Has any communication been brought up in this?
We've been trying to figure out the parking solution, because I knew that that was the issue at hand, was parking. So we've been trying to go back and forth on getting parking resolved for this meeting.
So nothing was brought up based on permit wise?
No.
Okay.
So sorry, go ahead.
Does somebody have a strong feeling one way or another to make a motion?
Well,
Okay.
if we can keep the downstairs empty, let them continue the rental till the end of the year.
Till the end of the season.
How do you prove it, Scott? I mean, there have been steps and balances all along on this, and apparently they haven't been followed. You've got the senior partner of ownership here appearing, saying he's completely clueless about what's been going on. You don't have any
I wouldn't say I'm completely clueless.
no disrespect, sir.
Yeah,
You
that
don't
is
have any
disrespectful.
by Mr. Castor, who's been running this. So I'm a little bit confused.
As I said, there was no misleading of anybody in this situation. I mean, I don't know how much. Well, that's
excuse me, I did not use misleading.
Well, that's how it's coming across, ma'am. And, you know, we're paying a lot of taxes into the base, and we're looking for a solution to get through this, which there is a solution from a parking standpoint, and we'll work that out. But, you know, we weren't trying to hide anything. If we were trying to hide something, we would not have put up a sign for everybody to see. So, yeah, steps weren't followed correctly. Looking to do that moving forward for sure, no question about it. And I'm looking I'm looking to do a lot more things up here. But you know, there was nothing misleading. It was just a simple misunderstanding on my end, and then quite frankly letting thinking that someone in real estate maybe had better handle on what needed to be done as far as getting things approved. So I would really ask for strong consideration for us not to be sending out a number of notices to families across the Midwest telling them that they can't come up to Sister Bay when there is no parking problem at all the remainder of this year. Yeah, for 2 months. And even if Castor did operate out of there, there still wouldn't be an issue because there'd be 2 total cars.
I still feel that we're getting misled here. I go back to the fact that it shouldn't have been turned into a vacation rental. And it's really immaterial who did what. The point is, it shouldn't have occurred. It's just really that simple. And it's then the sign, yeah, somebody made a big mistake putting that sign up, but that isn't even our issue. And the parking is sort of secondary. The issue is it shouldn't have occurred.
Well, there's nothing more I can say to that. I mean, some of you saying you feel misled. Who am I speaking with, by the way, right now? Who feels misled? I at least want to understand who I'm talking with.
You keep using that word. I don't believe I said it.
Ma'am, you just said you feel misled, and my whole family heard it.
No, that would have been the other speaker. You used it twice in regards to me.
Marge Gretzmacher on the Plan Commission.
I said that, and I do. I still feel that this should not have occurred. And that's the issue. And I feel badly for all those people who have a reservation. I feel badly that this occurred, but it did, and it shouldn't have.
And it is not the Plan Commission's fault.
No, we get stuck with having to make these tough decisions.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that a cease and desist order or the upstairs apartment located at this address cannot continue to be rented as a transient rental until they are a permitted use. Motion by Berto.
I second.
Second by Gretzmacher. Further discussion? Can we do a roll call vote, please, Janelle?
Sure. Okay. Bertle?
Yes.
Okay. Baker?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Okay. Gretzmacher?
Yes.
Hartwig?
Yes.
And let's see, who do we have left?
Mary Kay.
Oh, Shumway, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Abstain. I'm going to pull the restrictive covenants and other things, so I will abstain at this time.
Okay, motion carried.
Okay, I will draft that and get that out.
What's the fine? And I guess we're gonna have to take legal action. But what's the fine? What are we looking at?
I'm gonna have to go through our village code to get the fines.
Get that to me right away.
Okay.
We're not canceling these reservations the next week.
Well, yeah, like is this immediately?
Yeah, they're saying cease and desist right away.
Like,
Yeah, it's not doing it.
Well, no, but I mean, there's somebody who lives there right now.
Yeah.
So ask that question. You have to give a.
Yeah, there's got to be some. There's people there right now. We're not kicking them out.
No, you do. No. I'm sorry. I should have put that in my motion. However long it is that the people are currently there, they may stay until the end of their rental.
Which is tomorrow, and someone else.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna. Unreal. Okay. Thank you for your time.
You made a bed with it.
What's that?
Bo,
Yes.
can we take about a 5-minute recess?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Tech would like to make to the Open Hearth Lodge, which establishment is located at 2669 South Bay Shore Drive, and review of a related site plan, utility plans, grading and erosion control plans, a lighting plan, and a landscaping plan, as well as building plans and elevation drawings.
Okay.
Oh.
This was submitted by Bayland, and they worked with Robert E. Lee, our engineering firm. This is a 3-story, 15-unit addition that will be adding 21 parking spaces as well to meet the requirements for the addition. This has a very similar, an exact match to the current site building there on the property. It's a 3,000 square foot addition. I believe it's 2 or 3 units on the upstairs will be suites, so they will be larger. And then 2 units on the bottom will be additional for staff.
Okay, I did ask Bo, and I think he did confirm with Robert E. Lee. Is that correct?
That
I
is
was wondering if the addition and the additional parking put them over the 1 acre, and then NR 151 would have to be implemented, and Robert E. Lee said it did not, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so that it is a non-issue. The only 2 questions that I have or recommendations is I'd like to see some additional landscaping and some trees planted in a few other places than what has been presented. And I wanted, somebody from Bayland is on, is that correct?
That is correct. This is Dave Phillips with Bayland Buildings.
Okay, hi Dave.
Hi.
I just wanted some clarification on all the lighting and specifically what went where. If you can take me through that.
Right. Well, first of all, the landscaping question you had, Denise, is the site is pretty heavily landscaped, meaning a lot of existing trees and stuff, and we hope to keep as much of that as possible. Our landscaper that designed the layout pretty much was trying to match what has been added in the past, but the whole idea is we want to keep as much of the existing landscaping as possible, the trees and the cedars and things like that. But we'd be open to any suggestions, ideas you'd have regarding landscaping, and adding a few trees here or there is always a great idea.
Well, it had to do with, and I'm trying to scroll through the packet to get to the landscaping plan. It's where the new parking would be, not the one closest to the building, but the one parallel to the parking that's already there. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yes.
Landscaping's on page 58 of your packets.
$58 or okay, 58.
58.
I was on 48. Okay, yes, thank you. So I thought that because you had a bird's eye view of the whole property, and I do see that, you know, there is quite a bit of landscaping naturally there, but the 10 new parking spaces in front of the hotel, I thought maybe on the, I don't know if you'd call it the south, I don't know which side it is, north, yeah, it'd be south. Yep. If you could plant 3 trees, you know, on one side of it, obviously not where it meets the other existing parking, because there seems to be in the bird's eye view really nothing there except lawn. And I just thought it would help break that up a little bit.
Right now, Denise, they have a very nice flowering hedge along that whole parking lot. And that's something that because we're going to lose it, I firmly agree they're going to want to put that back in to keep the look and everything they have. And it's very nice now what they have now, but of course, by having to add the parking, they're going to lose that. But I firmly believe they're going to want to put that back in because that's just what they've always had.
Okay, and is on page... On page 49, is that what that crosshatch is? By that parking? Is that the hedge? I don't know what that is. Because it didn't show up on your landscaping plan on page 58. It didn't show that hedge being replaced that I
Yes,
could tell.
what Robert E. Lee is showing in is that hatch is exactly what I just explained. That is that it's a nice flowered wildflowers and all different flowering and bushes that they have alongside the parking lot. And I know for sure they're going to want to put that back in because that's their look and that's their style.
Okay, Bo, can you screen share page 58 just to make sure that we're talking about the exact same place?
Yep, give me 1 second, please.
Hey, Bo.
Yeah.
John Zacek is on here. If you want to unmute him, he could probably answer some of Denise's questions.
Yep, give me 1 second. Why are you not opening? Computer is not complying with me. Please give me a moment. Sorry, my computer is not letting me open things because I have the Zoom meeting going. Give me 1 second. Okay. You said what page?
58. Do you think it's going to work or no?
It's loading. It's being a little slow. My internet's being strained. Hold on. 58. Sharing the screen now.
There we go.
Okay, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Yes. So can you put your cursor? Yep. This is the one here that I'm talking about.
Dave, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it very well, and I know exactly what Denise is talking about.
Okay.
And yeah, this looks bad, like there's nothing there. But again, they have a very nice hedge along that whole parking lot, and I know we're gonna want to put that back in for them. That's a look and that's a style.
Okay. Well, if you're going to do that, that's great. That addresses my issue. If you could plant a couple of trees, 2 or 3 trees in there, that would also be great. But I think your landscaping plan either needs to show that. That way we have a complete plan that we're approving and one that will go in the file on what it is that we have approved and are expecting you to do. Thank you, Bo.
Yep.
So then if we, okay, so the lighting starts on page 59. So if you can just take us through, some of it is self-explanatory, but if you can just tell us exactly where all of this lighting is going.
The first thing, when I talked to the electrician today, he wanted me to tell you for sure that all of the lighting that we're using is called cutoff lighting, meaning it's designed to just do a certain item, not, you know, span out or shoot out. Most of it is down lighting, starting with the first page. Those halo recessed cans, those would be in the soffits, just like the building has now, just kind of washing the sides of the building. And again, as we get into this, keep in mind where the addition is going. It is almost 70 feet from the nearest property line. I just measured up, it's 240 feet away from the nearest neighbor. And again, there's heavily wooded on that north side along there. And we're gonna retain all that. But again, so the first one is soffit lighting, just shining down much like the existing building has in the overhangs. On the next one, where they're called a Luminaire Tahoe, those would be just a few of those would be along the walkway from the parking, that if people wanted to walk to the north side door and not come through the whole lobby area, they could do that. A lot of cases, it'd be easier to bring their luggage in that once they're checked in, to come around that nice walkway they're gonna have. So that's what those are. Again, just walkway lighting, very simply.
Okay.
The Luminaire. And then we get into the Muro series. Those would be at certain doors that didn't require a lot of light. Remember, by law, we got to have them at certain doors. We don't need a lot of light because they're emergency exits. And then like out on decks, and you can see that it's a mostly a down light, just shining straight down, and that's what the one configuration shows. But again, not casting off out or about. And then the last one is where we would need the RAB one light fixture. That would be by the doors that are going to be accessed the most to light up the actual stoop and the door so people can be safe and to get inside. But again, none of these are anything but what we call cutoff lights, meaning shining down in just a small area around the area.
Yeah, I didn't think that there would be a light trespass issue or anything from the look of them. I just needed clarification on what went where.
Yep, they're all very simple, and all keeping in mind they don't want to have a lot of washing of the lights out and about.
Sure. I thought I read on one of the plans that this is a 14 unit. Is it 14 or 15?
Here's what we got. We have 14 units and then a staff room. And again, the staff room would be for breaks. If in fact somebody had to stay overnight that was manning the desk or anything like that. And then if in a worse scenario, if it would be used by a transient or whatever, the options there, but it's always been considered a staff lounge in an area where they could do it. So it's 14 guest rooms plus that staff room.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. Those were my only questions. Anybody else?
I have nothing.
So obviously, if Robert E. Lee did the plan, they in the village have already signed off on this, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, well then, Janelle, do you have the motion written?
Mm-hmm. Okay. A motion was made by someone and seconded by someone that the Plan Commission formally approves the site plan, the utility plans, the grading and erosion control plans, the lighting plan, as well as building plans and elevations for the addition to the Open Hearth Lodge, which establishment is located at 1669 South Bay Shore Drive, that were submitted by John and Nora Zacek as presented, and also additionally approves the landscaping plan for the previously mentioned project on the condition that the revisions that were mentioned with respect to trees are made.
And the hedge.
And the hedge, okay.
Right, that's what you called it, right, Dave?
It is and that's a good example of just what they have there, and they're going to want to put that back.
Okay, all right, I will make that motion.
I second.
Second by Gretzmacher. Any further discussion?
Very
All those-
tasteful, thank you.
What?
I said very
Oh.
tasteful, thank you.
All those in favor respond with an aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You know, I'm sorry, who made that motion?
I did.
and Marge.
Marge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Item number 4, discussion regarding the possibility of scheduling a public hearing on John Glynn's request to authorize creation of a certified survey map that splits parcel number 1810007312841D2 into a 15.095 acre parcel and a 5.292 acre parcel. Bo?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, the background states that both properties are zoned R4. That is incorrect. R4 is small lot.
I'm
They-
sorry, these are R3 large lot. That is a mistake on that one. Thank you for correcting that. Yes, so the representative, Mr. Glynn, is looking to do a CSM that will split the 20-acre parcel into 2 parcels, one a 5.2 acre parcel and the other a 15.095 acre parcel. That description is best seen on page, I'm pulling it up right now, on page 74 and 75 of your packets. These properties fall between Fieldcrest and Country Lane. The proposed buyer's property abuts and adjoins the property as seen depicted on that map.
Janelle, do you have the motion written?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that a public hearing shall be conducted on John Glynn's request to authorize creation of a CSM that splits parcel number whatever in such fashion that it will contain a 15.095 acre parcel and a 5.292 acre parcel at the next meeting of the Plan Commission. That meeting is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September 22nd.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Baker.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, discussion regarding the preliminary plat that was submitted by representatives of Northern Door Properties LLC for parcel number 1810005312843B1, which property has been assigned an address of 10678 North Bayshore Drive and is commonly referred to as the Cedar Shops property. Bo?
Yes, so a preliminary condominium plat has been here. The developers in attendance. This is currently a B3 downtown business, and this is the next step in condominiumizing that property for any future uses below. It is my understanding that in the future it will be brought up for a change of use to the retail component as well as a hotel motel condominium.
Are we approving the condominium documents tonight?
Tonight, you would just make the recommendation to the village board to adopt a resolution that would approve the plat.
The condo docs are just included for reference. You guys actually don't have any say over what's in those condo docs?
Oh, okay. Well, because there's a couple things in here in the condominium documents that it's talking about, like on page 80, 3.03. identification, a unit consists of a structure intended for either commercial or residential purposes. And it's in a couple of different places here. And it also designates parking for specific units. And we don't know what is going in those units. And so maybe somebody can shed some light. You know, if we only are approving the plat, but not, and we have no say-so in the condo docs, I think parking is going to be one of the issues that we have per unit, depending upon what the plan is for those particular units. And if they want a hotel motel condominium in there, you know, we need a drawing of which buildings that is in and where. So I don't know. I would think that it would all go together, but apparently I'm wrong.
Denise, I'm the attorney that's representing the developer. Would it be all right if I jumped in to try to address some of your questions?
Sure.
So my understanding from Bo about the process is we have the plat first, and then obviously as change of uses arise, there will be the parking plans and parking reviews at that time. We've tried to give the Plan Commission an idea of where we think the uses are headed based on potential buyers of the units, specifically Unit 3 and Unit 4 in the back of the property as potential hotel, motel, condominium. The actual condominium documents, it's not our intent to restrict the uses. It's our intent that anything that would be allowed under the village's zoning would be permitted under the condominium documents. The reason residential is mentioned is because Unit 1 has residential quarters to it. Yep. as adjacent to the commercial use. So if I just said that it was commercial, it wouldn't really include that permitted residential use in Unit 1. So our intention is to not restrict the uses any further than village zoning would restrict them within the condominium documents. And as for parking, you know, these discussions will be had as change of use permits are applied for. We discussed, and you'll see, I actually highlighted those initial in yellow, those initial parking assignments. So what we were discussing with those assignments, we're making what's called a limited common element for certain parking spaces, making certain parking spaces legal rights of certain units. And I've actually had discussions recently with Britt Unkefer about the total amount of parking that's going to be available on this property. And it sounds like the number is approximately 25 parking spaces total. And that number may actually increase slightly because in the shed that's listed on the plat is actually going to be removed and be space for a dumpster and additional parking that it could be there. So that number may actually increase. And we're going to revise these final documents for if it goes to the village board to give the association the flexibility to assign parking spaces to meet village ordinances regarding parking. So the goal is for the condominium association to provide the flexibility for the individual unit owners to meet whatever village requirements there are for parking. The uses would be subject to the village ordinances, and we don't want to restrict those any further than what the village already does. So we're going to be revising that parking section that you mentioned to just add flexibility for the association to assign parking spaces according to what the village requires for the uses. So, you know, even though it wasn't required to file a draft of the declaration, we thought it might just be helpful for background about where this is headed. But we'll be making some revisions that I think will help clarify your questions.
Okay. And well, just a point of information maybe for you as council. In order to have a hotel motel condominium, you have to have 5 units in one building.
So I talked to Bo about this a little bit, and I believe Gary Wisa is on the line. He's not my client, but he's actually the purchaser of the potential purchaser of units 3 and 4, which would be those properties. And I know he was discussing making those actually 3 and 4 total 5 bedrooms, which it was my understanding from Bo that would be acceptable. And I also thought that if it was less than 5, then it would be 100% of those units would have to be available for rent 300 days a year. You wouldn't get that 80%, because without 5, you don't have that 80% reduction. So, Bo, I don't know if you can step in there to help clarify that.
Yeah, from my intention and from my understanding, I'm trying to go through the definitions right now. For the hotel motel condominium, it says a condominium ownership property where more than 80% of the units are available for rent for more than 300 days a year.
So if there weren't 5, I would read that as being 100% of the units have to be available for rent 300 days per year or more. And the buyer is aware of that, and he plans to have them for rent every day of the year. So I think we're.
This is in B1. It's this B1, correct?
B3.
Then B3.
Excuse me, B3. All right.
B3.
So the same as everything else in the downtown district that we have dealt with over the past 3, 4 years, 5 years. Amy, I'm confused. We've never tried to approve condo docs before an actual development has been approved. So I think this is kind of putting the cart before the horse, to be honest.
Well, you said before the development is approved, there's not any new structures being built. These are existing structures.
Right, but it is a change of use from retail.
So the change of use, we have not filed a permit for yet, because it essentially, in order to have a sale of one of these units and a potential purchaser to change that use, we have to have the units legally created. So I understand that it feels like it'd be, if we could do it all at one time, that it might be
chicken and egg kind of thing,
right? Do we have? So until we have a legally created unit that can be available for sale, they're not, the marketability of, potential buyers, it doesn't really work to then go through the plans to file for potential changes of use. So this was the procedure that, after talking with Bo, appeared that the plat should come first, and then there will be permits as change of uses are proposed with the necessary parking requirements to meet the village's ordinances. And we feel that with 25 or a few extra over 25, that we'll be able to meet those requirements.
Yep, Amy explained that well. I agree that the plat is to create the properties in which then after it gets approved, they can propose a change of use.
Right. I just want to make sure that, because I disagree with Amy's interpretation. So I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page moving forward on what is allowed and what is not allowed. So
Denise, are you referring to the definition of the hotel motel condominium?
Yes, because yes. And
yeah, I think it's important we explore that.
Pardon me?
I think it's important
in regards to the very definitive tone tone of the village that some retail has to be in the heart of B3, right on, you know, Bay Shore, right in there. I mean,
And it is intended that Unit 1 definitely remains as retail. That's the current plans. We're not restricting the future use within the condominium documents of any of the properties. Anything that's allowed under village zoning would be supported by the condominium association.
Because I think the only way to allow something is that it has to be a hotel motel or a hotel motel condominium, which means you have to have 5 units, period. Just because you don't have the 5 units does not mean that it's allowed and has different criteria. I'm looking at.
Yeah, could you reference the code section about 5 units for me?
It should be on page 45 of the zoning code. I have one that was text amendment August 20th of 2019. Is that the latest one, Janelle?
No, there's one where the sign code revisions are in there.
Oh, well, okay, we're not dealing with that then.
I'm on page 45 of the village zoning code. Could you point out where you're looking at so we can look?
Well, I'm looking on, you know, starting at the bottom of the first column, line 50, permitted uses, and then it goes to the other half of the page, where you go to line 79 and 80, or items number 20 and 21.
And I see that reads hotel motel and condominium hotel motel.
Yes, so those are permitted. And if you go to the definitions, you must have 5 units.
When I had reviewed the definitions, I thought that the definition of a hotel motel condominium was that 80% of the units had to be available for rent for 300 days a year or more. I recall seeing that there was 5 minimum.
No, and that's where I got my definition from as well. On page 187, hotel motel condominiums, condominium ownership.
If you go one up on the definition to hotel, it's an establishment license pursuant to Chapter 50 of the Wisconsin statutes, wherein sleeping accommodations are offered for pay to transients in 5 or more rooms, and all places used in connection therewith. The terms hotel, motel, and inn are synonymous. And you have to have 5 units.
But that's...
They said they do, Denise?
Pardon?
Brady said you're gonna have 5 bedrooms in both buildings combined?
So combined they will, but if I could just clarify, so a hotel definition is a separate use than a hotel motel condominium. So a hotel is licensed pursuant to Chapter 50 of the Wisconsin statutes, which would be different than a hotel motel condominium. That those 2 definitions are separate uses under B3 and separately defined terms and not interchangeable. So Denise, I completely agree with you. If you are a hotel licensed with the state as a hotel or a motel under Chapter 50, that there is a minimum of 5 rooms to be licensed to qualify. But because we are under hotel motel condominium, that one is not licensed under Chapter 50 and would not have that same minimum requirement. But Janelle, as you interjected, I believe it is the buyer's intent to have 5 total sleeping rooms between units 3 and 4. And, you know, I'd be happy to discuss this further with you. I think it's probably better suited for the change of use application when that gets done, because I think today we're trying to just approve the plat. I'm glad we're talking about it now because it's always best to get ahead of these things. But my reading of this, and my conversations with Bo were that the hotel motel condominium definition is separate than the Chapter 50 hotels.
Okay. I'll let that go for now. And you were, you stated earlier that currently on the entire property, there are 25 parking spaces and there could be more with some rearranging.
So there's currently, they don't actually have the lines drawn on the parking spaces right now. But Britt Unkefer, he has told me that they've done a plan that can have approximately 25, I think maybe even 26, and he's on the line and he can jump in and clarify this. And the plan is to see if they can sneak a few more in there after the removal of the shed.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Brett does have his hand up if Bo wants to. He's still muted.
Brett, can you speak? I think you're.
Yep, there we go. Yeah. The village should have a parking plan from a previous meeting. I would say, and Janelle, you might remember from a year and a half ago or 2 years, maybe even 2.5. It was before Skipstone was opened. And we had gotten a parking plan done then because we had to do a change of use back then for Skipstone, Building 3 and Building 4. And just as, who was it? I think it was Mary Kay had brought up that something about retail. Units 3 and 4 are not retail. They're zoned for office and a bakery.
Okay.
Just to clarify for her, so she knows that I'm not taking away any more retail.
Mary Kay actually dropped off. I can't see her on our list.
I think her connection dropped her off again there.
Oh, maybe someone can let her know.
Yeah, we can do that.
So the 25 parking spots, it's somewhere in there. I could not find my notes, but the village should have it.
I think Mary Kay is trying to reconnect right now.
So while we're waiting for Mary Kay to get back on, Bo, do you know the answer that if you are a condominium hotel motel, you do not need to be licensed with the state?
To my knowledge, that is correct.
So Scandinavian Lodge and Birchwood are not licensed with the state?
I would have to double check on that one.
Okay.
I can get those answers to you if we get to that point where we discuss change of use.
I'd like the answers anyway because I'd like the answer anyway.
Okay.
Long before that.
We can get that.
Is Mary Kay back on?
No, she's not. She may be trying to call in. I have no invitees right now. While we're waiting, can you tell me those businesses again so I can write it down?
She said the Scandinavian Lodge and Birchwood.
Thank you, Jordan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I was reading. I didn't know you were talking to me.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to make sure I got the right ones.
And I would make sure that when you're looking at the licensing, you're looking at rooms only. So those properties, if they have a pool or they do any sort of food service, those will need to be licensed through the state. So make sure that you're looking at the correct licensing.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's some that they would have to have through DAT cap and, right.
Yep. That's, yeah.
Okay, Janelle, does anybody else have any questions?
I think Mary Kay's jumping on right now. She's calling in. Mary Kay, is that you?
Issues with my computer, I apologize.
Does anybody else on the Plan Commission have any questions for Amy or Britt? Janelle, do you have, pardon?
I'm sorry.
Janelle, do you have a motion written?
I'm sorry.
Sure, did you want something, Amy?
I was just wondering if Britt could repeat what he was trying to tell Mary Kay regarding the retail uses of the property, since I don't believe that she heard that.
No, I apologize. My computer failed. I'll be bringing it into the office tomorrow.
Sorry about that. So just for your reference, Mary Kay, units 3 and 4, we were talking about the parking plan that had gotten submitted to the village it was prior to Skipstone opening up, and we had changed the use of Skipstone, which is building 2, and then also building 3 and 4. Building 3 and 4 are not currently zoned for or have a permitted use for retail. They are permitted to be an office and a bakery. So this change from those to hotel and motel condominium would not take away any retail.
I'm looking at my paperwork. Thank you.
Okay, Janelle?
Okay, your motion is gonna possibly state that the Plan Commission has reviewed and approved the preliminary plat that was included in the meeting packets that was submitted by representatives of Northern Door Properties LLC for parcel number 1810005312843B1, which property has been assigned an address of 10678 North Bayshore Drive and is commonly referred to as the Cedar Shops property, and recommends that the village board pass and adopt a resolution that formally approves the final version of that plat.
Somebody care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, Denise.
Motion by Baker, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bell. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item number 6, discussion regarding a request from Dr. Bradley Straka to allow a change of use for the property located at 2340 Mill Road that is commonly referred to as Pitka's, from a retail shop to a gift shop and spa/professional office with an accessory use of transient lodging. Oh?
Yes, so we have received a proposal from Dr. Straka, in which he is, well, first of all, it's included in your packets to read. Now, this is in a B3 downtown business district as well. So the change of use would be for the transient lodging as well as the professional office space. If you can scroll to, and I'm pulling it up right now, page 100 is the summary, as well as page 101 showing the parking changes, as well as potential additions to the property. They're looking to do a gift shop and a spa on the building, as well as a transient lodging, a rental unit there as well. Dr. Straka is on the line to answer any questions as well.
I did get this proposal before it went in the packet. I did have concerns with the original proposal with some parking and oh gosh, I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, it has all been addressed. The parking is perfect. The amount of spots that they need. The only thing, because the parking spaces have been changed from the original one, which the rest of the Plan Commission did not see, they do have to take out about eight trees. And that is the backside of Todd and Dave's building, you know, the old Betty Wilsey property. And I guess the only thing is once those 8 trees are taken out, I would like the option to review what that looks like and possibly add some landscaping if needed. And that would be my only concern about the whole entire project. Otherwise, I think it looks great. I think it's a great reuse of a building and the addition, keeping the architecture the same. It's a beautifully landscaped property. Pipka has done a fabulous job. We will be sad to see her go. That's all I have to say.
If I can just add in as well, and it's mentioned in the packet here, but if this change of use is approved, the representative will still need to submit plans for our review for the architectural for the addition. So the landscaping can be provided in that plan as well.
So then with that parking, real quick, with the parking, is that then going to be, how close to the property line between the Castor building and that? Do we know?
Well, based off of the sketch that I have, I can't determine how close to the property line that will be.
Can we request a survey?
That is something we could request.
I think that would be prudent.
I would agree with Mary Kay.
Yes, excellent point.
So actually, I'm Dr. Straka's, I'm the agent working on his behalf. Part of that, part of the offer to purchase, it is contingent upon us receiving a survey. That is something the listing agent is currently working on. All I know is, I think his name is it Frisk? If I'm saying
Brian
that correctly?
Frisk is the surveyor.
Yeah, he's the surveyor. All the listing agent told me, I've been touching base with him, is that the surveyor knows and that the deadline that he has is the contingency date on the contract. So, and that's September
Right.
15th.
Well,
so
September 15th. I will check with Brian Frisk and see if that's in line, because right now he's not accepting any additional surveys. It sounds as though this went under contract a while ago, so it may be in the queue. You do understand that it seems to be the consensus of the commission that we do want to see a survey before we make any determination on this.
Oh yeah.
Specifically because of parking, specifically because it's Mill Road.
Yeah, we're very well aware of that. So, but.
Quick comment or question. Thank you for your kind words on the property. I think it would be, I think it's beautiful. I mean, anyone who goes there, of course, falls in love with the nature of that building, and as we did too as well. With the parking, based on the markers that are there, so I could not find an existing survey. I suspected because the property adjacent had been sold, there was a survey somewhere, but there are some markers out there. So based on the drawing, it's about 2 feet from the edge of the neighboring property that goes. I did not see in the code a restriction on distance, but I honestly not an expert on that. So is there a certain distance that we need to stay away from the edge of the property? And I agree with the landscaping, something I would be open to, anything to beautify the area. But can anyone speak to the requirements? Because I actually don't know. I didn't know there was one.
Yes, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we not deal with this with Goose and Twigs when they were putting in their back parking lot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Okay, or it was the propane tank with Quinn's.
Was it
Okay. So let me just go to the parking section of the zoning code, just so everybody can be on the same page. If I can find it here, what those setbacks would be.
That was 10 feet. It was 5.
Well, you can ask for 0.
It's planned just preliminarily at 2 feet right now.
Because what happened with the building next to Pipka's between the Mill Road Gallery, isn't that basically right on the property line with that parking assigned? I know they put a fence in, but that's basically right on the line.
Yeah, the opposite side, correct.
They went through a great deal of hearings in order to be permitted in the manner that they are. So with this being a preliminary hearing, I would wait to hear the consensus.
This is Ken Larson from 2330 Mill Road. We actually have 6 foot from the property line for the actual blacktop. Yes, the fence is kind of on the property line, but then we actually have the, the vegetation in front of the parking spaces. Just to give you some idea of what we did with our property.
Okay.
Thank you.
As an aside, the parking as drawn would then abut the parking of the adjacent property, whom I think we talked to was first on the agenda tonight. So it would be a parking lot adjacent to a existing parking lot.
No, I'm gonna mute you. That scanners in there.
At a quick glance here, I am not finding it, but I know that we have talked about it, so it is somewhere.
I just looked through parking and I couldn't see it. I'm going through B3 right now.
Yeah, maybe it's just in B3. Maybe it's just a general setback, because I thought we had also talked about that with Dollar General.
Well, they were a different district, so that could have fallen under. Let me see.
Yeah, the minimum side yard setback in B3 shall be at least 6 feet. The Plan Commission may grant a waiver where the adjoining property owners enter into a written recordable agreement adjusting the minimum side yard setback with the following options. Both parties can agree to a 0 foot side yard setback. Both parties can agree to 3 foot side setbacks. But that's pertaining to building setbacks. So does a parking lot, because it is at ground level, is not considered a structure? Only anything, I think, above 6 inches is considered a structure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So by reading that, I guess it would be up to us.
They've offered to show us a survey. I'd like to see the survey first and
Absolutely.
Yep. I would agree. Yep, 100%.
Exactly.
But other than that, I think everything is as Denise said, I think everything looks really great. I saw looking at the plans. But as long as we get the survey in, it looks beautiful, and it's a good change for that. And I agree that Pepka's will be missed, but yeah.
Thank you.
So if we want to see the survey, then do we table this till our next meeting because we're not going to take any action on it?
If you'd like a motion for same, I'll make such motion.
Is there, because I won't have time, there's an expiration on the offer to purchase, and I'm not expecting an approval. Is there a preliminary approval I could, get for purposes of closing that says that pending survey and appropriate setbacks and approval by the board, this is at least approved
Could you simply amend your contract to go ahead and extend the deadline for the use?
Possibly, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, we could extend it, yeah. We'd make an amendment to extend the deadline. Okay. So, because just so I understand, it's so we'd have to attend the next month's planning commission meeting as well.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, that we could ask to amend that. Yes.
So if you think your closing was on September 15th.
No, not the closing.
Oh,
sorry
no,
for interrupting.
She's saying that the use deadline is, her survey deadline is September 15th.
But yeah,
is that correct?
The proposed use contingency for this contract was 60 days from the accepted offer, which takes it to September 15th, takes it to September 15th. And I know someone previously mentioned the next month's meeting is on the 22nd.
Correct.
So we're shy by a couple days. So
yeah, you're shy by a week. Yeah.
Ugh. I would honestly ask for an exception since parking and ingress egress in that area is such an issue.
Yeah.
I would maybe propose going out an additional 30 days because that would allow you to go through the meeting, and then if there's anything else that has to be met, you can pay to call a special meeting. If something has to be changed, you can go ahead and there's a fee that the village charges. If there's something that you have to satisfy and you can satisfy, you can get it done. I'd hate for you to cut yourself short. I mean, it's just that is a high wire area. I don't know how else to, explain it. Everything looks really good, but again, sometimes things look really good and surprises come up, and that happens more often than you'd expect.
Understood. I will. I was hoping to have the survey by tonight, but so we will then. I'm perfectly pleased to come back and have that survey and make sure it does fit. And fortunately, it looks like based on the assessment, there's a little bit of adjustment that can be made. Of course, I want to certainly preserve the beautiful character of the property. So I'm perfectly content with that decision.
Okay, so then we'll have a motion to table until next month.
I so move.
Motion by Gretzmacher.
Second by Baker.
Second by Baker. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. See you next month.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys connect with me and we can try and work on the parking.
Okay, great.
As soon as you get that, send that to me, that survey.
And sorry to interject. Did someone say they were going to call Frisk?
No, you need to call Brian Frisk.
Okay.
I was just stating that right now he is not accepting any new surveys until October, to my understanding. So they're way behind. I would impress upon him that, this is subject to a public hearing and that you need it ASAP.
Okay, that's what I thought. I misheard you, so I apologize.
No.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Okay,
luck.
item number 7, discussion regarding the provisions of the draft development agreement for the Tapawat Brewing Company development. The development agreement was going to be in the packet. I pulled it. There have been some snafus, let's say, to use somewhat of a nice word. And I have talked with Nick Devley multiple times. I've also talked to Tom, who is from Bayland.
At least from Alliance.
Alliance, thank you. And so I am trying to address the issues that they have and keep this moving forward. And I will most definitely have that hopefully in the next week or 10 days to return to Nick and have them review the changes, and hopefully all will be okay with them, and then we will deal with that at next month's Plan Commission. So that's that. Agenda item number 8, report by the zoning administrator regarding development activities, various enforcement actions, and issuance of sign and zoning permits.
Yes, so as a couple of you mentioned before the meeting, I'm looking to schedule some tours with Plan Commission members and the developer of the Door Hotel, just to do a walkthrough and to see the progress. It's pretty astounding. Staff has done a walkthrough of that project, and they have substantial progress on there. So if you'd like to be a part of the tour, just let me know, and I will try to organize and schedule so that we don't have groups larger than 6 meeting. I just want to stay safe with COVID. So far I have Scott, Jordan, and Marge who are interested. If you'd like to be a part of that, just let me know. And I will connect with you separately to schedule those times.
Mary Kay is interested.
I will add Mary Kay to the list then.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. I'm just transitioning now. We are getting ready and working into the budget season. Something that I just wanted to address here. We do have the GIS system from Rugert and Milky, which is working with utilities and stormwater. And the discussion that's been brought up in the past was adding zoning layers to the GIS system. I think that's an excellent move in the right direction there. So I'm going to continue to move forward on that and getting the zoning added to our GIS system. And that would be something that the public can look at, but staff can change, so that we can constantly keep that updated as far as what parcels are zoned what within the village. Moving on, permits this month, I have to amend that. We now have reviewed 3 house plans and 3 deck permits this month. And then something that was mentioned at the board meeting that I wanted to address at Plan Commission was the DC EDC Northern Door site tours. DC EDC is working to put together a tour for potential developers who are interested in Door County properties. I'm working on getting the list that you can see in the packet organized and submitted to DC EDC for part of the tours. I have a feeling that those are going to be virtual. So I'll be putting together presentations that will be shown virtually, and then if the developer is interested, they can individually go to these parcels and set up meetings. I have added parcels down Highway 57. I'm working on that. That was a request made by the board. So if there's any other requests from Plan Commission, please let me know. I'm working up to the deadline, which is September 1st.
Well, I'd like to thank you. I was desperately afraid that we wouldn't have a showing from Northern Door, so I'm extremely pleased that you're taking this ball and running with it, because when they announced what they had, it seemed pretty grim. So this is our one chance in an alternating calendar year to get things together, and thank you. I appreciate it.
So if I don't answer the phone this week, if you call me, it's because I'm locking myself in my
Okay, I would like to add some items to the agenda for next month, other than the ones that we've already talked about tonight. I would like to have the Maple Manor Lighting on the agenda. I would like to have the Goose and Twigs parking lot and their landscaping on the agenda. And Mr. Dan Murphy's parking lot or parking issues on the agenda.
Okay.
Is Denise, is that Mill Road? Or
Yeah.
What is that?
Yes, because
Okay.
I keep bringing up these issues and nothing is happening. So apparently I need the Plan Commission backing me and making specific requests to get these things handled.
Just want to make sure I know what everything is. So.
And well, and Maple Manor is the old Baptist church.
Right. I saw when I drove home back roads today, 9 cars in the parking lot. So.
Well, you should have seen it 2 days ago when there was more than 9 cars, far more than that. There was quite a bit. That's
Wow,
yeah.
crazy. Okay.
Denise, as far as the Dan Murphy parking, what do you want on the agenda?
Well, that he added a bedroom and he remodeled his garage into a game room so it can't be used for parking.
Okay,
He
so-
also parks too many cars out into the right of way.
Okay, so should it be discussion regarding the parking requirement for Dan Murphy's building located at whatever it is on Mill Road?
Yep.
Okay.
Because this just cannot continue to go on and have, just can't continue to go on. It's basically the same thing as Todd Cox and Dave Kastner. He did something to that building. He added another bedroom. It required more parking and he didn't get approval. And he doesn't have enough parking to begin with.
Well, Denise, you're absolutely right. Even playing field for everyone, which is very important for us to impress. So thank you.
Yep.
Did we
Fair should just be fair.
Did we talk about some of those changes to the when he added that gaming room to the garage? We did talk about this for a very short window.
Well, it might have been because I came across that in my research when he took it to Zoning Board of Appeals. And that's how I found out that this had happened and that he had made the den into another bedroom. So not only did he need an additional parking space for that bedroom, but he lost 1 or 2 in the garage as it was.
Right.
And it's on us to do the follow-up, and Zoning Board of Appeals was what, almost a year ago?
It was a while ago.
Oh.
I don't know, and maybe between now and next month's meeting, I'll find something else to bitch about too.
Well,
Hang in there, Denise. Hang in.
if you can add it to the agenda now, that would be great, but so noted.
Okay. If there's nothing else from anybody? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn at 8:03?
So moved.
I'll move Shumway.
By Hartwig, second by Shumway. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed, carried. Thank you. That was a little tumultuous tonight.
Well,
Nice job, Denise. Good night.
Good
had
night.
to be done.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stop it.